Hello everyone. Today we're going to put the sleeves, attach them to the sweater. And as you'll see, I have two markers here. How I arrived at these markers is from the designer's schematic. I'm making the second size in. I'm putting together the second size in, and this piece measures from here to here 14 1/4 inches. Half of that would be 7 1/8 inches. So I want 7 1/8 inches, the middle of the sleeve cap, which I measured by folding it and putting a marker and marking 7 1/8 down, place a marker, 7 1/8 down, place a marker. The center marker goes right at the shoulder seam. So we're going to attach the working yarn to the shoulder seam first. I've gathered a piece of yarn about 3 times the length of the area I'll be seaming. And I'm going to anchor my yarn right on the seam. And then I'm going to leave 1/2 of the yarn to this side and 1/2 to this side, because I'll be working in, we're going to work from this direction, the middle down to here, and then we're going to turn the sweater and work again middle down to that marker. Before I start attaching, just a note, this is garter, and both sides pretty much look the same. The way you can tell that you want which one you want for your right side, you want your finished edge to look just like the rest of the sweater. This is the smooth side, is the right side, because there's your cable. The wrong side shows the bumpy edge. So we want to make sure we get the smooth side of the sleeve to face up as well, so everything will be uniform. So what we're going to be doing first is seaming. This is reverse stockinette. There's the knit side on the wrong side. So we're going to take stitch for stitch here, which are little bumps here, to one, actually these are rows, excuse me, each row to each of these stitches. So I counted, I think there's about 8 or 10 here, we'll see. So it'll be the same amount of stitches. And then we're going to be doing garter ridges to garter ridge rows to stitches of the sleeve. And because there are more garter ridges than there are stitches, we sometimes will have to take 2 ridges at a time. Now I've done the math on this, and what I use as a guide is a book I have by Sally Melville, the Knit Stitch book. And in her book, she gives a formula for doing just that, figuring out how many stitches to rows. And she calls it's called the, let's see, the table of comparative ratios. And it's really spot on. I mean, once you figure out what you're working with here, and you do her formula, it all works out very, very nicely. So the first thing I did was anchored them into the middle of the shoulder seam, and then I'm going to come over here and take a stitch just to the other side of the marker. And I'm not going to close it up yet. I'm going to leave it like that, and I'm going to do a couple of those. And I'm going to go to the next one, the next reverse stockinette stitch on there, come over to the next stitch, the next bump here, the next stitch, go under both legs, the next stitch, and I'm working rather close to the edge and still getting a nice firm stitch. So I've got about 5 on my needle right now. I'm going to hold on to this side of the working yarn and pull with this working yarn just to close it up, and you'll see how nice that comes out. A couple more of these. Stitch to reverse stockinette stitch bump, stitch to reverse stockinette bump, okay, close that up. Now we're ready to work garter ridges to stitches. So I'm going to take so my formula for figuring it from Sally's book was, for this particular sweater combination, I'm going to take stitch to ridge 5 times. 1 stitch, 1 ridge, 1 stitch, 1 ridge, do that 5 times. And then I'm going to do 2 ridges to 1 stitch once, and then go back to 1 stitch, 1 ridge 5 times. So it's 5, 2, 5, 2 until I get down here. Show you what I mean. Stitch, ridge once, stitch, ridge twice, stitch, ridge 3 times, stitch to ridge 4 times, stitch to ridge 5 times, and close it up now. Now 2 ridges, one stitch, because we're coming over to the stitch side, to 2 ridges. So I go under 1 ridge, 2 ridges. Now back to 1 stitch, 1 ridge 5 times, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, close it up, and then 1 stitch to 2 ridges once. And I will continue down there till I come to that marker, and that will be land right there. So I will finish off this, and then I will come back and we will turn this piece around and we'll work the other direction in the same fashion.